Okay, if you can hit these two numbers, you're ready to start training for a sub-3 marathon, your Boston qualifier. Not nearly ready, but ready. There's one pace sitting behind both of them, and you've got to prove two things about that pace. That you can hit it and that you can hold it. Most runners only ever check the first one. So let me show you both and the exact sessions I use to get there. Quick check on start point first. If your 10K time is somewhere between 41 minutes and 46 minutes, then this is for you. 4 minutes per kilometer or 6:26 per mile is within reach. You're not yet there, but it's close enough with the right work to build to. Two runners I coach have recently ran their fastest 10K time, not in a 10K race, but in the second half, in the final 10K of a half marathon. And they've never done a specific 10K session. And that's the whole idea. What are we training for? Are we training to get that marathon time as fast as we possibly can? Or are we training to hit those equivalent times that you see online on calculators? We're training everything that makes a marathon runner, building the engine, durability, making sure you stay together at each part of the marathon, and as a byproduct, speed will come. So, indicator number one. What we're aiming to do is run a 10K time trial alone, solo, in 40 minutes. Not in the 38:30 or 38:45 that you see on an online calculator, but 10K solo in 40 minutes. So you don't even need to find a race to do this test. And if you can build to running a solo 10K on your own in 40 minutes, you've proven that you can produce the pace. And here's how you get there. Session 1. 15 times 90 seconds, a bit faster than 6:26 per mile. But be honest with your start point. In the last 4 weeks, how much speed work have you done? How much time have you spent at around that 10K effort? If it's very little, then you can start with 6 or 8 times 90 seconds and work your way up. What we're always looking for in running is continuous improvement. So you feed in that enthusiasm and you're excited about your sessions. If you're getting set back with little niggles and injuries, we've got to build that into a wise runner who knows when to push and who knows when to back off. But whether you're starting at 6 reps or 15 reps, what you're doing is banking time faster than that race effort. You're getting comfortable at that 10K race pace. Session 2, 6 times 4 minutes with 60 seconds walk rest in between. Again to time. And you're thinking, am I in control? Is this sustainable? When I look at the heart rate graph afterwards, is it going to be, or am I proving to myself that it is manageable and I can sustain this session? That's what we're looking for. And so over the weeks, you will see the distance that you can cover for each one of those reps, and the total session get you slightly further in distance. Those are the types of sessions that make that 40-minute 10K not just a hope, but something that is sustained effort where you're in control to the line, because that's what we're looking for. We're building a marathon runner. Now, before I give you the next sessions and the next number, the indication that you're ready for the sub-3, in the last 4 weeks, 2 of the runners that I coach ran their fastest ever 10K in the final 10K, not in a half marathon, but in a marathon. So when you felt that feeling that it's a war of attrition, that you're dying, your pace is coming down for the same effort, you're just trying to get to the line, they were running the fastest quarter of the race. And imagine how many people you're passing that went out too quick. And again, they're totally focused on the marathon goal. But imagine what that 10K PB in the final 10K of a marathon translates to in a single 10K race when they've not just ran a fast 32K. That's what we're building. It's easy to run 10K at marathon effort. It's the second half, the final third, and the final quarter that you are training towards. Which brings me nicely on to part 2, the second set of sessions. What we've proved to ourselves is we can hit that pace. Now what we've got to do is prove that we can hold that 6:26 per mile or that 4 minutes per kilometer for 1 hour. Now you could do that in a race. So if you can find a 15K race, great. It's gonna be more often that you can find a 10-mile race. And if you can get to 64 minutes for 10 miles, of course, that extra kilometer, you're even stronger. Speed that you can't sustain, so just hitting that 10K number. And this often catches out runners who will hit the equivalent time for 10K of a sub-3 marathon, which is 38:30 or 38:45. But if you can't sustain that, if you've not done the specific work to bridge that gap to be able to hold it throughout the marathon, then that's you blowing up, best case scenario, at 20 miles. Now, a great session to bridge that gap is a 70-minute long run. And again, ask yourself, what's my start point? What's the longest I've ran in the last 4 weeks? The more recent, the better. But all we're gonna do is 20 minutes easy, conversational pace, gradually ramping up in that final 5 minutes before we do 3 times 10 minutes at that 7 out of 10 effort. So if you're capable of running 40 minutes for 10K, then you'll know how that feels. And it will be an 8 or 9 out of 10, potentially finishing at a 10 out of 10. So this 7 out of 10 is gonna feel easier, more manageable, more repeatable, not just over the reps, but over the weeks and months, and that is paramount. And you're doing it inside a longer run of 70 minutes. So add the warm up and cool down and look after those, and you're out there for 9,500 minutes. In between the reps, 2-minute jog recovery. And for all of these intervals and faster segments within the long run, gradual deceleration at the end of the rep, gradual acceleration into the rep. And we can progress from there to 80 minutes, 20 minutes easy, gradually ramping up, 4 times 10 minutes, and then 20 minutes easy on the back end, where after that last rep, 2-minute jog recovery, and then gradually letting the heart rate drop back into zone 2, conversational again, and then walking around heart rate. Now, not only is that a great session, it's also incredibly time efficient. Now, I see in the comments every week, and I hear you screaming at the screen, what's 7 out of 10 effort? What's 8 out of 10 effort? And as this guy said, what is all this effort bollocks? So why effort rather than pace? So I'll give you an example. I had a runner last year living in Texas and training through the summer towards Chicago Marathon. He was at 3:21 for the marathon and wanted to go more than 10% faster and run his first sub-3. So what usually happens, as he starts to see the temperatures, 80, 90 Fahrenheit, 100 Fahrenheit, 110 Fahrenheit, if he's trying to get comfortable at that 6:26, bit faster, bit slower, dependent on the session, when you add in heat and humidity to that, all of a sudden he's overstriving and overtraining and elongating the recovery in order to work on an efficiency that he's not going to use in the race, or he's going to use in the final 4 to 6 miles of the race that he won't get to with that approach. So what did we do? For him, difficult, holding on to a new method, but not seeing race pace for months, because he's leaning into effort. That takes a lot of trust, and most runners will lose their head. They'll panic, they'll overtrain, they'll get injured, they'll get set back, and for them, tried sub-3, not possible for me. What he did instead was line up for Chicago Marathon and run 2 hours and 56 minutes. So not only has he been training smart, he's also been getting the heat adaptation as a double training method. And I can tell you from experience, living in Granada and Chiang Mai, it is a superpower. So there it is, 2 numbers, a 10K solo in 40 minutes, and then being able to train to hold that pace for 1 hour. Now, hit both of those and you are 1, possibly 2, depending on what you've been doing, 1 or 2 training blocks away from that sub-3 attempt. And at that point, it's less of an attempt and more like, if I'm disciplined, this is gonna happen. A lot of the runners that I coach will tick both of those boxes en route in the same training block toward their first sub-3 marathon. They are indicators, they're not goals. If you want me to map those training blocks exactly to your life, to your schedule, to your race, and by making the best use of the time that you have available by attacking your limiting factors and development areas, then get in touch by booking a call in the link in the description.